G'day everyone, my name is Shane A. Bassett, your host, the movie analyst, and I'm up very early to speak with someone very special actually from a movie called The Stolen Valley. It's an indie modernist Western action film, we'll get into that. Allee Sutton Hethcoat, great to meet you.
Hey, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you for getting up early. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Hello from down under. Have you ever been to Australia or Sydney or anywhere?
No, but
No?
I am dying to go. So I'm actually a huge Formula One fan, and you
Ah,
guys just did a race in Melbourne, and I'm dying to go to Australia, and I'm dying to go see an F1 race there. It's one of my
yeah.
dreams.
Yeah, it took a little while to sort of take off in Australia, but the F1 was huge a couple of weeks ago. It was big.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And Danny Rick is amazing. He's such a great personality. And then I think
Yeah,
Piastri too is I really like him.
yeah.
And so you guys have drivers to be proud of.
Is that something you reckon you could probably do? Maybe get behind an F1 car or at least act like you
Oh
can?
no. I here's what I'll say. With the experience with the film, I really did learn that with the help of experts, I can do a lot more than I thought. Because if you would have told me before the film that I could ride a motorcycle, I would have laughed in your face, just like with the F1 car. But now, who knows? Who knows? I would love to, but I also get really motion sick, so that might be a problem.
Oh, really? Well, you're on motorbikes in this movie, so did that's part of your character? Did you get motion sickness, or did you already know how to ride a bike for the role?
No, I didn't know how to before, and I didn't get sick, but I think that was partially just because of all the adrenaline and nerves whenever we were shooting on the bikes. But
Yep,
we had the best stunt coordinator who also actually was my double, Julian Joyner. So
yep.
we started working together in early September, and we went to Kanab in late October. So I had almost 2 months of practicing with her before the film, and getting really comfortable, and ended up having a ton of fun on the bikes, and Briza as well. We were both really, really excited to get to do it. And it was terrifying because a bike is really heavy.
Oh yeah.
There's pieces of it that are scalding hot. Like it's totally different from driving a car. And so it was scary, but then really exciting. And whenever the shot of us on the bikes comes in the film, and Breeza and I are always like, so excited and so happy because it felt like such a big moment for both of us. And we shot that well, we got up super early. We got up at like 3 a.m. that day, went to
Okay.
hair and makeup, and shot right as the sun was rising. I think it was -8 when we woke up, and maybe like 10 degrees Fahrenheit for us on the bikes. And so
Celsius,
our
Celsius
hand,
for us.
okay, yeah, I'm so bad at the conversion. I that's something I should know, but I don't. We were
That's all right.
so cold that I was afraid I couldn't let the clutch out because my hand was just so stiff. But it made it in. It looks like it's warm, beautiful 4th of July weekend, and we got our shot on the bike, so that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good shot. I mean, it worked because I believed you both, and I don't think the credit goes out for stunt doubles. Sometimes they do a
Yeah.
lot of work.
They do. And especially in this film, because if you've seen it, you know it's incredibly, incredibly physical,
Yeah.
and stunt work is amazing. You see right in our trailer the shot of Briza's double, Wexley, who is just beyond incredible. She actually was jumping through a window that was fixed with detonators. She was
Oh,
jumping for a fire bar, and the we had an amazing, amazing crew, but our detonation specialist had to watch for the exact second she
yeah.
got to the glass, blow it up, and she would go through it, come out, and she'd have glass and little cuts and just take it out and say, all right, let's go again. And I
Mm.
really learned on this film, they said it's a myth that stunt people don't get hurt. We know how to get hurt without it being catastrophic. And they are incredible and just made us look way cooler than we actually are. But I do appreciate that Julian and Wex worked with us a lot and helped us do what we could. And
Yeah.
it was a great learning experience and really encouraged us both. And whenever I watched it, I was like, wow, I this look, I look so tough. I can't believe it. But we owe them everything, Julian and Wex, because they are truly super women.
You're tough. Maddie is tough. Like Maddie is tough, but she's
Yeah.
also manages to hold a room. You have presence, and I think her character, although she's confident, learns a lot from Lupe. And that's what the connection is, I think, makes half the movie anyway. It's really you two really connected on set, probably, and in the film. Your
Uh,
characters have layers.
yeah, Briza and I share an incredible bond now, and I'm extremely lucky that from the moment we met, we really hit it off because, if you're on a film with somebody who you just don't get along with, you're not going to have a great time. And
Yep.
unfortunately, that happens sometimes. We had the time of our lives every single day, and we're like family to each other now.
Nice.
And that it was really cool because what was happening with us in real time was happening in the script, and we actually shot pretty chronologically, which I think helped elevate our performance because
That's
the
interesting.
yeah, as much as we could, we did. And so the bond was able to build and kind of, I really think it helped us both a lot with our performance. She's an incredible performer and gave so much every single day. And really, brought me up in yeah, with Matt as well. She she learned what she needed to and failed to up to that point in her life from Lupe, in a way that nobody else could have taught her because
Mm.
she's extremely hard-headed and stubborn. And she doesn't trust people. She hasn't had a reason to.
Yeah.
And she doesn't accept vulnerability as a strength. She doesn't accept like the things that come with vulnerability as strength, and really had to learn that from Lupe.
Yeah, well, Maddie has strength too. At one point you were got ripped off and you were gonna sleep in the back of your truck and things weren't working out for you. So yeah, you did too, I think, as well.
Yeah, and I that's what I think that Jesse did so brilliantly is it would be really easy to write Maddie as one-dimensional, tough, shoot
Yep.
first, ask questions later, but then you you wouldn't like her. Like you wouldn't root for her, you wouldn't care about her. And I think to show that she is just pretty much like all of the rest of us, somebody who's deeply hurt and looking for a sense of belonging, makes it where
That's it.
yeah, it just makes it
And
so
the
really good night.
rodeo riding, I'm assuming that might have been a bit of a stunt double, or can you ride a
Oh
horse as well?
goodness. I can ride a horse, but I actually sat on the bronc in the chute at
You
the
can tell.
radio.
That's why I'm asking. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just sat on the bronc in the chute, and that was terrifying enough to me. My double for that scene that did the ride, who looks I mean, we have photos together. It isn't
Yep.
insane to me how much we look alike. Her name's Corey Ford. She is a professional bronc rider. She's won championships. She trains horses. She's an incredible performer and taught me so much. Was super patient, like just really helped me because that was my first night on set and
Oh,
really
that was
helped
your
me
first night. Wow.
very first night. So she actually gave me a lot of inspiration for Maddie and kind of helped me sort out some questions I still had about the character. But
Mm.
she said, "Yeah, like you can sit on the bronc in the chute. Just be careful, sit like this, sit like this. Don't put the spurs in, or else he'll really start getting after you." And
Yep.
I was scared just sitting on the bronc in the chute, and it kept slamming into the gate, like wanting to get out, and my leg was hitting. I was like, I don't know how you people do this. Y'all are superheroes. But just even feeling that was, I think it was great for performance and watching her ride. And then she's very immersed in rodeo culture, of course, which is Maddie's background, and
Yep.
talked to me a lot about what it's like to be a woman in that world and what it's like, the lifestyle. And it was really informative. So I thought it was really cool that that happened on the first night, and
Yeah.
it really helped me a lot.
Oh, yeah, the confidence must have been huge after sitting on an animal like that and
Yeah,
just thinking
yes.
and being as one, because sitting on top of it, it could probably feel you and you're feeling it. So yeah, as
And that's
one.
exactly what they say. When you sit down, you have to be calm, you have to be quiet, you have
Yeah.
to be totally focused. And same even with our horses later on. We had the most amazing horses. But then it helped too because Corey was very particular about form because we took me off of the bronc in the chute and later that night put me out in the middle of the arena on a
Yeah.
mechanical bull, and she worked with me over and over and over again on technique and how your seat should be, how your arms should be, how you should be with the rope. So it was really good to do that first, and I couldn't believe when it cut together. I was like, it's so seamless, and I
Yeah.
really think it looks really cool. And it was, you're right, it was a great first experience. And I think that too, you know, as an actor, whenever you're reading a script sitting in Nashville in your space in your clothes, you kind of question like, gosh, like how am I going to get there? And then
Yeah.
we were out in Utah at a rodeo, like in the hat, the chaps, the
Yeah.
boots, everything, and everything. It's like the magic started to happen. And like I felt like, okay, this is where she is. This is Maddie. It was really cool.
And then, obviously, one of my favorite moments in the film, and there was plenty, I've seen it twice, but it kind of was better the second time. The
Thank
dancing scene came out of nowhere. And it was
you. I
funny
know.
and it showed a bit of humor. And what was that like? Are you a dancer? Can you perform like that? Or were you not a
Well,
dancer?
first, thank you so much for watching the movie, taking your time to watch it and sharing a kind word. That
Of course.
means so, so much. And to me, I was really glad to see that this script was infused with humor because that's
Yes.
the way that life is. Like life isn't all one thing ever. And I'm the kind of person that when I'm coping, I'm trying to make jokes and laugh even when it seems wrong. And I think that I really liked that. I really liked the moments of levity because I think that that's the truth of how life is. And sometimes film doesn't always embrace that for the sake of like mood or drama. And whenever I read the Taco Tuesday scene, I laughed just reading the script. And then when we were there and all the characters from the bar started showing up, I mean, how amazing were they? Stash and then Deb, the
Yeah, that was
host.
great.
Yeah.
Authentic, very authentic.
Yes, it was. And I've done very limited dance in the past, but again, Briza and I were the beneficiaries of so many incredible experts that said yes to this project, whether that was Corey for the Bronx scene, Julian for our stunts, or our incredible choreographer, Jacqueline. And she was so patient. She was such a great teacher, and she took her time and just knew what we needed instinctively to get to
Yeah.
where we needed to be for the dance scene. And Briza has a lot more experience. So I should say they were both
Well, yeah.
very patient with me. But then I felt good going in, especially as somebody who had never done that particular style of dance. That was a lot to come into, but they were really generous in sharing that part of their culture with me, and teaching me with open arms. And then we had so much fun. And I think you can tell on screen that we
Oh,
were
yeah.
absolutely having the time of our lives. And I thought like I said, I love some of those moments like are my favorite in the film. And Danny Arroyo, that one moment when he walks in, he says, "Oh shit, Taco Tuesday." I mean, that guy couldn't have done it any better. And I laugh every time.
It's the little things in all movies, but in independent film, it's great to see them included and just working. And they're probably they mean a lot more to the actors delivering the lines, to the director, and all you guys. You notice it more rather than a massive production sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think that Jesse was really brave to do that.
Mm,
Like I said, I think a lot of times people just want something to be all one thing. And
yeah,
I think with a film like this, like the message is obviously really important, but I think it was really brave of Jesse, and I it's one of the things I love the most about the film, and the people that I talk to that enjoy it, it's one of their favorite parts too, is just having something different and refreshing and not having to feel like you have to be what everybody else is or do what everybody else is doing. And I
yep,
think that's the benefit of independent film is getting to have more fun and be creative and do things your own way.
yep, exactly. Speaking of Jesse, had you worked with him before? Had you known him? How did you get the role initially?
Well, it was bizarre. The story is crazy. So I had worked with Jesse before because Nashville's a pretty small film market,
Okay,
and Evolve is the biggest game in town. And you know, because you've seen the movie or anybody that's seen the trailer,
yeah,
what they can achieve cinematically. Um, is unbelievable. And it's on par with or ahead of, I feel like, major studios. They're just incredibly gifted with their cinematography, with their editing, with you so
Sure.
anytime I had worked with them in the past, I had worked with them on a National Geographic Drugs Inc. promo that was just short and quick, and it came out, and I couldn't believe how amazing it was.
Yep.
And then a television show called National Geographic Origins. And each time I worked with them, I was blown away by the scale of what they were doing in our market. And so it
Yeah.
was an easy yes anytime they called. That being said, I was really late in the game on the casting process. So
Really?
they cast, yes, I think I was one of the last people to get cast, and they had been reading a ton of people for Maddie.
Wow.
None
Okay.
of the agencies had submitted me even to the breakdown for whatever reason. I don't know why. And I had gone to college and done television production classes with a girl named Melissa Loomis. And we got to be friends in school. We were in class together. We worked on projects together. And then we didn't see each other for years. And I have an email on her from my inbox randomly one day.
Yep.
And she's, hey, I'm with Evolve now. And I am working on this film. I'm helping with casting. And I think you'd be great for this part. Would you audition? I was like, absolutely. So just randomly, this girl that was a friend of mine in college that I hadn't seen in quite some time,
He thought of you.
yeah, thought of me. I owe all of this to her. None of this would have happened without Melissa. And isn't it funny when things like that happen in life, when you think of like, oh, you're so close to missing it, and it just all came together. And this film is really, it's been an important part of my life. You know, it's been 4 years since we shot, and now from the experience, I've made some of my best friends. This is definitely like the most exciting project I've ever been a part of. And
That's a
like I
big
get
call. I
here
mean,
with you talking about it today, all because somebody remembered me from Belmont University.
well, Melissa, I don't know you, but thank you for that. I'm very stoked to see Ali in this movie. That's great. Really good. Is there anything that you brought to Maddie that is a lot to yourself, your own personality, or was it all on the script?
Uh, well, funnily enough, as I was reading the script and out there in Utah, I realized this was a lot like me when I was younger. I
Okay.
think growing up, and I only shared this a couple times. People don't ask this question much, but I love the question, so thank you. My
Right.
family is from a rural part of West Tennessee, and I just come from like really tough stock. They were scrappy, rural people, and
Sure.
my grandfather especially was the president of a labor union and dealt with a lot of things that like he and the whole family had to be really tough because of threats against their family and things like that for changes that he was implementing in the union. And he was in jail a couple times just with different
Oh,
stripes from things like that, just quickly. And
yeah.
didn't like, very tough, very, very tough people, rough and tumble, brave, scrappy, and like really good people. And they were people who, like Maddie, you kind of have to get past that layer. They're naturally kind of like untrusting, and they're,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
just
sure.
pretty people. But once you get through, like, loving, warm, and wonderful, you just got to hang around for a while.
Well, I was going to ask you a little bit about your heritage. So a rough area, but was it Nashville or have you always been from that area and growing up?
So yeah, I was born and raised in Nashville, but my parents came here from a place called Waverly, Tennessee, which
Right.
is an hour and a half west of Nashville. Really, really small, tiny town. My dad grew up in a town where the state actually made everybody move and flooded the town for a river. And so he had to come to
Oh,
Waverly, but they moved out just because there was no opportunity. There was nothing for my parents to even be able to do there. And
yeah.
I know that moving was really life-changing for the opportunities that I had. But I really appreciate that where they're from and like their
Yeah.
values and their toughness, their resolve, their grittiness. And I'm sure there's places like that in Australia too, where if you're from these places, you have to be resourceful and gritty and just tough to get by.
Yeah, well, Australia is another way of life at times. We have like the outback, the city, and just different types of toughness, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah,
You you'll find
absolutely.
you'll find out someday. You'll come down and visit,
I can't
hopefully.
wait to. I was hoping we could come down during all of this, but one way or another, I'm getting down there.
Good. I hope that you hold me to that. And can you surf? Because I like surfing. Are you any good at surfing, or maybe not?
I
Because you're from
I have
Nashville.
never even tried. I've done the surf simulator
Oh
like
yeah,
at a
yeah,
resort
yeah.
and I was okay, but Shane, if I come down there, you'll have to help me out.
I'd be happy to. That'd be awesome.
I'd love
Thanks.
that. I would love that.
When it came to Maddie, the hat, the clothes, was that
Mm,
something you were really comfortable in? Because that's part of the character anyway. It always is when it comes
right.
to costumes. Is that how you dress? I mean, you're
No.
a lawyer. You're a lawyer. Do you dress like
Yeah.
that as a lawyer?
Yeah. No, not yeah, not
Just
at
kidding.
all.
Just kidding.
Sam Rowe was our wardrobe designer, and she's
Yep.
phenomenal. And she sourced all of these real, authentic, vintage Western pieces that were
Right.
just
They looked
perfect.
beautiful. It looked really immaculate.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you. And it was really important with the character design because I, you know, how you read reviews. You're gonna read reviews whether they're good or bad or whatever. And I've seen people be like, "Oh, it looks like a shiny model outfit," and I'm like,
Sure.
"That's so interesting," because when we were at the rodeo and there were women competing, they're beautiful. Like this
Mhm.
is pageantry to them. Rodeo
Mhm.
is pageantry. And like this it was really eye-opening for me because I was like, wow, even in my perception of Maddie working with Sam, she had picked up onto that before I did and was just so it was interesting because she said like women aren't just all one thing. Like you don't have you can be tough and you can wear like a nice cute top. Like
Sure. Yeah.
Maddie is resourceful. She knows she's in a man's world. She's going and she's working with all men and like getting money. Like she's part of rodeo. She knows there's a scene that has since been lost in the film where her
Oh.
posters were being used at the rodeo as promo, and it's like a really great photo of her. And so it was really interesting to me. I thought in all of that I learned a lot about women and like some of my own kind of limiting beliefs and putting putting the whole Maddie regalia on was
Mm,
so
mm,
transformative.
mm.
It was a lot easier to be in the script and be in the moment
Yep.
and really feel like I needed to because of Sam's work. Like the hat makes you feel some type of way. Everybody should get to wear that hat and see how they feel because it's just that great. The big belt buckle, the holster. I would go to sleep at night. The holster tied, it was around my waist, but it would also tie around my thigh. And I'd lay down in the bed at night and I could feel just the ghost of the holster tie on my thigh. The boots,
Oh,
everything just like came together and really created a mood. And it just helped. It helped my performance beyond anything that I could have done on my own.
that's so cool because you say it's there to like looking at you because that poster, I mean, I don't think movie posters get enough credit, but it's
No.
all there. It's all there to see in that beautiful poster of you both as well.
Oh, our poster is absolutely incredible. It
I
is
hope you've got a copy, your own somewhere.
I don't have one. I do
What?
not have a poster. I know I've asked Jesse, I'm like, can I please have one? And my parents want one
I want
desperately.
one. I want to get one too. Get
Okay,
me one too, please.
I will. While I'm on it, because my mom wants one, I want one. Shane will get you one because it is. Jeremy Cowart was our photographer. He's a world-renowned celebrity photographer. It was a very simple one light setup for the poster months
Wow.
after we had shot. And I loved it. I really think it is kind of a nod to some of those like classic Westerns, but how cool to have two women from such different backgrounds back to back
Yep.
in this like, traditional style poster with a completely new twist on the genre. It was really fun.
Yeah, I love it. It's diversity, it's inclusivity, it's
Mhm.
there in your face. It's got a statement. It sells the movie. and
Thank
it
you.
doesn't let you down. Some posters and trailers can look fantastic, and then you watch the movie. Oh yeah, it was okay. This is all
Yeah.
three.
And
It's a
nothing's worse than that, feeling
yeah.
like you got taken for a ride. But you
Yeah.
know what was interesting too, Shane, is on the poster shoot, Jesse was there and was giving us direction.
Okay.
He
So
was
he was
behind the
he was
lens.
directing the poster
Yeah,
shoot.
he absolutely was. And he was giving us some cues from moments on set or from like references from the script and like helping kind of like walk us through.
Okay.
And I was really glad because it helped because even, months later, even you can put the outfit on, but like getting back into that register can be kind of difficult. And we had that separation because we weren't doing it one day on set. And so
Right.
it was really helpful. And I thought that was a great idea on Jesse's part to do that.
Yeah. Oh wow. I don't know if I've ever heard of that. A film director on the shoot of his own poster, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah,
And
it
it
was.
works.
Jesse is very hands-on and very present, but I have to say to his credit, he is not a micromanager. He lets you do
Okay.
your thing,
Good.
and he's never invasive. And but I liked that he showed up. He never big timed us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Jesse, yeah. Even though like he could totally be that way, he never big times anybody.
That's good. Good to hear. You don't want someone overpowering you on set. Letting you do
Mm.
what you do is much more creatively open. Someone who's open to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that it doesn't make anybody self-conscious. And the
No.
second that happens, like everything falls apart. And I just saw everybody coming in every day really um, feeling confident and excited to do. And I think it motivated people to really do their best because
Yeah.
he wasn't telling him, show up and do your best. He was like, I trust you. Thank you. And then they were like, okay, well, I'm going to bring it every day. And our crew was amazing. I
Yeah,
mean,
everything clicked. Like I said, I wasn't just saying that. It's a movie that I hope a lot of people and they already have seen. So
mhm.
it's getting out there. It's been a few years, but it's getting out there finally.
Yeah,
It's good.
finally. Thank goodness.
Now, I mentioned briefly you are also a lawyer. Like,
Mhm.
on this, is that something you wanted to do as a backup for acting, or are you combining the both? How does it work for you, or was it that you wanted to be a lawyer and then fell into acting? What's the
No,
story?
no, I started acting again, um, like really seriously because I did little commercials and things as a child because my mom was in the industry and um didn't have a babysitter. So her agent was like, "Well, take the kids with you, do family
That's good.
booking."
That's good.
Yeah, and I loved doing it and took a break when I was younger, started again in high school. And I always really loved acting. And so I studied at Belmont Mass Comm, sports and media. I thought I wanted to do sports broadcasting, still
Yeah,
wouldn't turn down F1 broadcasting. But then I had all these teachers at Belmont that kept telling me, you do really well if you paired this with a JD in broadcast. If you have your law degree, you can do your own contracts, you can practice, you can do
that's
legal
so
course.
true. Yeah,
Yeah, and so they were like, I had some of the best educators, and I'm so grateful to them. Really sweet people too, who when I was acting in college would let me come into the TV studio, help me film auditions. Like, I really am so incredibly lucky. So thank you to Rick Bingston, Rich Tyner, Stephen Faust, and went to law school at a part-time executive program. So I would work during the day, and I was working on set to pay my tuition and go to school at night.
sure. Yeah,
And I thought, well, maybe you know how it is with acting. Everybody says like, "Oh, you shouldn't have a plan B. You just need to do it." And I to some degree, I agree with that notion, but at the same time, I thought, well, I got to make money. I got to make a living. And I'm in Nashville and I don't want to move. So what else can I do? And I thought maybe I'll do entertainment law.
yeah.
And I already have this whole basis of friends that need help. I could negotiate on their behalf. I could look at
Perfect.
all the contracts, right? And so went to law school really excited about that. And then things just started picking up while I was there. And it kind of started my career started taking off and getting really busy. And so I keep up my degree. I do continuing legal education hours. I, pay all my fees and taxes to keep my license, but I haven't practiced it since practiced briefly in 2018.
Yeah.
And then I've just been doing this full time. And I had an attorney that I worked for who was so sweet. He was like, honey, you can be a lawyer any old time you want, but I don't know about being a movie star. And so don't be a movie star while you can. And I thought, well, I'll
Yeah.
try. I'll try my best.
Well, you've come a long way since the Vampire Diaries. You're doing
Yeah,
something right. You're doing something
we
right.
recorded that. We recorded that audition for the Vampire Diaries at Belmont University. My teacher, Rick Bingston, helped me record it. I had gone
Wow.
to a callback in person in Atlanta, and I got back to Nashville. They said, hey, we need to hear if you can do a scream, because we have to have a great like scream queen scream. So
Yes.
send us a sample. And I was already back in Nashville, and I didn't have a self-tape set up. And I was telling my teacher, he said, well, let's go in the studio. Let's do it before class. And Melissa Loomis, who cast me in this, was in that class.
Melissa, yes.
Yeah. Small world. Yeah.
That's so good. So that got the ball rolling. I mean, there could be a revival. You might be asked back, even though it was a minor role.
You never know. You never know. You never know. What a lot of people have asked Shane is there going to be a second film? A lot of people feel like the ending of our film kind of left it open.
Yeah, well, that was one of my questions to Briza. I want to see the further adventures of Maddie and Lupe. Is that something that's well,
I did
obviously
too.
it's obviously been talked about. Have you got
Yeah.
any ideas in mind? Will it be like let's not say Thelma and Louise because that's
Right.
tragic. But
Yes.
yeah, further
I always
adventures.
love, and anytime I hear people mention that as a comparison, like that's a huge honor for me. So
Yeah,
I will accept all of the Thelma and Louise comments. But I told Jesse, because ultimately it's up to Jesse, right?
of
This is
course. Yeah,
his child, and I have pressured him sufficiently to work on a sequel. And I said, I think this would work really well as a mini series, TV, where we had a little room to like stretch out and breathe, and bring some of these people back. It's
yep,
obviously open-ended. Maddie ends saying that they've got another task ahead. And I
yep.
think that's a lot of good room there, and plenty to play with. And I would love nothing more than to do that, because this whole group of people truly is like a family. So to get to be with them and create with them again, like that's all it would take to make me happy.
Do you think there'd be a romantic development between the two, or stay friends? Like, how do you think it might end up?
Um, I think we would have to see. I think it would be up to Jesse. I think
Yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
up to
No,
Jess.
it's an interesting question because
It is.
you're so close, you're connected on screen, and it worked
Yeah.
for you. I'd love to see more
Yeah.
adventures,
I would
television or a film.
I know. Anything that they'll let us do, I'll show up. They just got a call.
When you sounded like you were helped a lot and had a lot of support from a young age with your mum or being in the industry as well. But did you ever have any? I mean, the Me Too movement and the Times Up movement is so prevalent now, and so it's still a lot of work to be done. But
Yeah.
was it smooth sailing? Did you have any
Um,
problems coming through?
so of course, I think it's just a universal experience for women
Mm,
um in the industry, that you are going to have a problem. And
mm,
for me, it's just like kind of like a spectrum of experiences, all
mm,
like in the worst being kind of what we've heard about. And I feel incredibly lucky to be somebody who's never experienced
good.
like an assault or anything of that nature, but I've definitely experienced inappropriate behavior, harassment, anything like that. And I hate that we talk about it as the norm.
Yeah.
And I hope that somehow I can be part of correcting that, at least in my community. I think it's really easy sometimes to feel powerless. But even on this set, I was really inspired because of seeing how many women were in leadership roles. Our
Yes.
AD, our stunt coordinator, our hair and makeup department head, our producers, our cultural coordinator. It was so many women in charge who were really good people.
Yep.
Everybody out for another. All of the men that we worked with were beyond incredible. Everybody just worked together to make sure everybody felt safe, and we're in a
Yep.
space where they felt safe. And I think that's the only place where you can really create out of. And I saw in that experience that we do have power, even though sometimes you do feel powerless in this. And like in controlling what you can in your environment and helping set the tone. Because especially as an actor, you have a big responsibility in setting the tone. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily agree with it, but a lot of things is catered to the comfort of talent on set. That's just the way it is, because and
Yeah.
like I said, I don't agree with that, but the good side of that is you do set the tone. Like what you say does matter. And
That's it.
yeah, that was another reason too why I actually wanted to go into law. Is I had so many girlfriends, I had so many negative experiences that made them feel so powerless.
Yep.
Um, and having an ESQ at the end of your email,
Mm.
or people knowing that, is power
So
for
good.
you and others. So, yeah, I've definitely had my share of negative experiences, but feel lucky and unfortunately, and that it's not been as bad as other people that I know, and lucky that I can be part of making things better.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's quite important to me to know that I hear these stories and know that things are changing and you can make a difference. And your career combining the two really is a benefit for not just yourself, but people you know and work with, and you'll come to know, obviously, over the years that you're in the industry. So
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you for caring and asking about it and commenting on it, because I think that that's part of the solution as well.
Mm.
Is just is putting a spotlight on it. So thank you.
Before we wrap up, a couple more things. I haven't mentioned Mika yet. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, how was it? How was that experience? A bit
the
scary?
big bad.
A bit
Mika, I
scary.
mean, he's phenomenal in the film, isn't he?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's yeah.
everything. When he came onto the table read, I said, "Where did y'all find this guy?" Because
I've
he
never
was
seen him before.
I know, because
Yeah.
he's just so good, and
Mm.
his look and his voice and everything about him is so unique that I think he must be a star because he's so good, and he's just the perfect
Yep,
villain. Like,
yep.
um, and that was
He's
really powerful.
nasty. He's a nasty
He
piece of work.
He is. And you know what? That's powerful for your performance
Mm,
because he really brings it. And
mm.
whether your mind, like sometimes when you're on set and you're in that moment, it's so important to have somebody like Briza, like Micah, who's really bringing it and helping you within the process of suspending reality and letting your body and physicality actually respond to what's in front of you.
Yeah.
And that not only with his performance, but he's massive. He is hugely tall, very imposing. And then all
Okay.
of his wardrobe design, Sam was brilliant with the wardrobe design and making him even larger than life.
Yeah.
Big, dark colors, dark hat, the hair, the makeup, the grunge. Like, um, he is very intimidating and really brought it with his performance, and he's very unconventional.
Yeah.
His process, he didn't learn lines, he didn't like prep, he just came on and gave you what he gave you, and you never knew what to expect, and I think that actually added to
Yeah.
like a
Right.
fear, is the unpredictability.
Look, he looked big and imposing, but I wouldn't say enormous. So obviously, in real life, he's a big guy, and that affected the way
Yes,
you acted around him as well.
yes, he is huge. He's huge.
A
Yeah.
lot of the locations were authentic and open. Did you suffer any injuries? Did you get bitten by any bugs or have any
uh
problems?
I got a little bit hurt every day.
Oh,
Kanab is gorgeous where we shot, southern Utah.
lovely. I'd love to go there. It'd be really
Oh,
nice.
you got to come out because it is just one of the most unbelievably naturally beautiful places on the planet. And then it was really interesting because there's the history of the indigenous people right there.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
were living in what we were discussing and
yeah,
what we were producing commentary on, and that just really elevated everything, for everybody. And then I did wreck my bike before.
Oh,
Whenever I was practicing, I burnt my
oh,
leg. I got like third-degree burns on my leg and just like some scrapes. It was not a bad accident, bad enough to like shake me up and make me feel nervous. But I didn't tell anybody because I was like, oh, I still want to do my shots on the bike. And if they know that I wrecked, they're not gonna
that's
let me.
so true. Yeah.
So I can tell people now, but yeah, I did that and got hurt. And then, even I wanted to do as many of my own stunts as I could, and you're gonna fall. Like there's just no two ways about it. You're gonna fall, you're gonna have cuts and bruises and scrapes,
Yep.
you're gonna be freezing cold in the morning in Kanab, burning hot in the afternoon, freezing cold at night. It was really physically an extreme experience. But I think again, like everything just worked for us because when you're more exhausted and tired, it's easier to get to an emotional place
Oh,
that you
definitely. You draw from your acting ability, but if you're
right.
tired, you're just going to be a little bit at wit's end as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
And we
putting
were
in.
ragged. I mean, like you said, this is an indie film. We didn't have the comforts of multi-million dollar budget. We were
Mhm.
sitting on set in a house on the property that didn't really have heating or air. Like going inside, changing clothes, like we were really roughing it. And Evolve said, like, this is going to be scrappy. Like this isn't going to be a luxury film experience. And I no matter what, I was going to show up, and it was definitely bonding for everybody. It was
Mm,
a big bonding experience, but definitely helped me personally just because we felt ragged.
mm. Yeah, it's a good thing in some ways though, bringing out that kind of performance because it really
Yeah,
does make you push, probably as an
it,
actor, even more.
it definitely did. I'm really grateful. And you know what? I kept thinking, I'm like, if we can have fun in these circumstances,
Yeah,
this must be a really special group of people. And it was.
it was obviously, and you're probably all going to connect and work together again. Let's hope.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We still talk. We've got a group thread. Everybody stays connected. It's just like a love fest all the time.
As an actor, is there anything that you possibly would draw the line at? Maybe would you'd shave your head, or would you? Is there something in a script you probably wouldn't do, or are you open to pretty much anything within reason of the story?
Gosh, this is when I'm going to sound like an attorney. I think that these things I evaluate on a case by case basis. I think
Mm,
that all of my decisions are guided by script and execution and the team, and whether or not I feel that something's necessary.
mm,
And when I really think about like hard lines, nothing particularly comes to mind
yep,
because the story is good enough and it's meaningful or important. Like I want to do my part in playing the story.
yep,
But also, I feel like we're really lucky because of the advancements in prosthetics, hair, makeup,
right,
CGI, that some of the suffering of the actor has become more limited.
right.
So I think that always helps.
Cool. Well, thank you
But
so much. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully, we'll cross paths, and I look forward to maybe getting a poster. I'll
yes, I'm gonna get on Jesse about that, Shane. And thank you so, so much for getting up early and